is sensational for Cincinnati. Mitch Hildebrand, the hero, and the underdogs have prevailed once again.
I would like to present the USL Regular Season Championship to FC Cincinnati. Congratulations to the players, the staff, and most importantly, the fans on a record-breaking season. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your regular season champions, FC Cincinnati.
In a foot race, Cincinnati plays this across. Vasquez with the finish. Brandon Vasquez gives Cincinnati the 2-1 lead. A late breakdown by Red Bull.
Well, Dylan Nealis gets beaten, and nobody covers the streaking run. Unbelievable.
L'Oreal got under that. Oh! What a goal for FC Cincinnati! You couldn't dream that any better. Goal of the tournament. Maybe the history of the tournament. Alvaro Barreal makes it 2-0.
Acosta beats one man one-on-one and another. This is still Lucho Acosta continuing on. Acosta! Oh my goodness! A play worthy of a perfect 10 by Cincinnati's number 10.
Unbelievable. He's like a kid in a playground. He just picked the ball up and said, okay, you know what? I'm going to pick it up at the halfway line and I'm going to go all the way on my own. And you're thinking to yourself, release the ball now, release the ball now. He decides, no, I'm not having that. I'm going to have the goal instead. And I'm probably going to get the goal of the season as well.
Valerian looks to deliver, flick towards the far post, and it's off the line! What a save! That's a match-winning save.
He thinks that he's found the equalizer yet again, but Celentano just stays big and makes a massive save.
They have done it. Cincinnati, your 2023 Supporters Shield winners. A first trophy in their MLS era, and now they celebrate. Top of the Supporters Shield race since May. They never look back. And now a piece of silverware to show.
The Flying Lion says,
boys, hell is real.
2023 Supporter Shield champs.
So glad that I can be back with people who know that it's a Flying Lion.
It shows how much we all love this club.
Yeah, just a fan of the sport, you know.
It's definitely tougher to be in a cash player than it is a pro.
In this club, you don't play just for the club. You play for the ball.
Swap. Car of the week. Trivia question of the week.
Welcome back, everyone, to another playoff edition of the Flying Lion podcast. We are here live a little bit later in the week for you guys. We had a lot of info that rolled out over this past week, Sam, so we're going to cover it all in this episode. A massive game against Inter Miami on Monday in this conference semifinal match. So we're going to touch on that later on in the episode. First part, we're going to hit a lot of the new MLS schedule changes that we heard about. A little bit of news around the MLS, including some international guys that we had for FC Cincinnati playing all across the world. And then, like I mentioned, we're going to really hit a preview hard for you guys for this Inter Miami match as Messi comes to town. So thanks for joining us tonight for this one. Before we start here, we just wanted to shout this out for everyone. If you guys enjoy our podcast, we would really appreciate your support. One way to help us out is to buy these shirts. If you guys are watching here live, that Sam put up this graphic. Flying Line t-shirts. We're rolling these out. It's the perfect Christmas gift. The sale goes on through December 10th. This really helps to support our team and what we're doing over here. So we would really appreciate it if you go and grab one. You can head over to chatterboxsports.com/store. And then you can use the code double in all caps, and you can get 2 shirts for $40. Really appreciate your support as we're rolling into this playoff time. Everyone is wanting to get their hands on some FCC gear. So go check it out over there. But Sam, how we doing tonight?
Doing good. Obviously, I'm stoked for those t-shirts, Ryan. This is, I think we've done t-shirts before, just not in this capacity. So really stoked for that. Like Ryan said, please go support. We've been wanting to do this for a while, so go take advantage while it is Christmas season, right? Like you said, perfect gift. But yeah, I mean, it feels like it's been too long. It's been too long. We need to catch up with everybody and get talking about FC Cincinnati again, right? This dang international break during the MLS playoffs has been fantastic, right? Everybody loves it. But with that, like Ryan said, we got a lot of news, got a lot of things to talk about, to go over. We want to hear your opinions as well. If you're in the comments on YouTube or on Twitter, like, let us know your thoughts as we go along. But Ryan, this first thing, right? The new MLS schedule change was the big news coming out this week. To give everybody a little bit of background before we start to go in to it, some history. So since the MLS was founded in 1996, it has consistently operated on a spring to fall calendar, roughly February to November and now into December. We've started doing that since 2012. They've had playoff games in December. And so apparently the MLS has actually been thinking about this for the past 20 years, changing the schedule from a more European or to a more European style. And it first started back in 2004, 2005. Don Garber had said that the league, was thinking about it then. And then in 2014, 2015, they also kind of brought it up and looked back at it. Right. And now, as recently as 2024, they were considering the move more than ever. And, the growth and momentum, increasing pressure from international competitions, and honestly, the game becoming a lot more relevant in the United States has been a big part in that. So that's kind of a little bit of background. But we'll play a clip here from MLS Commissioner Don Garber. You could hear it from his mouth as far as his perspective on why this happened and what we can kind of see for the future here.
Our owners are very committed to being one of the top leagues in the world, and being one of the few that isn't aligned with the international calendar has us almost have an American exceptionalism, saying that we're going to play the game the way we want to play it, as opposed to the way the rest of the world plays it. And we just believe, even with the impact, which could be disproportionate on one team over another, that the great partnership and alignment that our teams have with each other won the day.
So, yeah, I mean, what you hear from Don, like Sam had mentioned, like this had been coming. There's a lot of mixed opinions out it, so we're going to kind of hit you from both sides. The facts, though, again, we've shifted now this calendar to go from that spring to fall to a more traditional European one, which is going to be around like July, August, all the way through May, which again aligns with everyone across the globe. The only exception would be down in Argentina and Brazil. They actually don't do it that way. But this kind of timing of things will be interesting, Sam, because we still have time before this sets in. So the short sprint season that we're going to have in February through May of 2027 will be 14 matches, kind of a shortened season, and then we're going to hit it hard July 27 through May of 28. So that's when you guys will really see the big change in that. You're not going to see that right away. We're going to have the more traditional one that we've seen for, over 20 years now in the MLS. So Sam, I guess if you want to kind of walk us through what your thoughts maybe are of this, or maybe some of the goods and bads.
Yeah. I mean, my personal thoughts, I think it's something that was coming along, and to get the best players in the world to come to the MLS, it makes sense from that standpoint, for the transfer window itself. Obviously, as far as the games being played, yeah, like it kind of conflicts. It makes it a little difficult for some of those teams that will have a harsh winter right up north. But at the same time, I think what was the metric? Like 92% of the MLS matches under the new calendar would still fall under the same seasonal window if we were to be in 2027, 28. So still really not much changing, except the fact that you are getting a longer break in the middle. In December to, what'd they say, February, right? December to February. You'd have kind of that break in the middle of the season, kind of like they have it in Europe, but a little bit more American Americanized, right? So yeah,
Way
I mean,
longer, Sam. That's the thing that I would say, that like if you're talking like, all right, we're making this change, and right now, like for context, the off season for us, from whenever we get out of the playoffs, if we make it, I guess technically, and until the first game is approximately like a month and a half, 2 months. You're going to have that in the middle of the season in this new format, Sam. So do we add a tournament or something to kind of occupy that space so it's not just dead time, for people, where it's like, well, is the season still going on? Like they were in first place, but I'm not sure, and they resume again in February. So I could kind of see, like you mentioned, the aligning with European windows, being able to bring in players in the same timing as everyone around the world. That's a huge benefit. But from the other side of it too, like you had mentioned, like in a northern market, if we look at Minnesota as more of the extreme, or even a Canadian one, there's going to be some freezing cold matches. But the MLS is making it so that at least in those windows when it should be colder, they're going to have less home games for those teams, maybe stack more of the home games in the nicer windows, or potentially even reschedule some for different snowed out games and whatnot as well. Besides that, in the schedule shift, Sam, we're also kind of considering a shift in the table and how this would look. So right now we have an Eastern Conference and a Western Conference. They're looking to make it more like the Premier League, where it's all one. But the difference would be that there's divisions within this. So based on region, we, would hopefully play the Crew 2 times a year. You want to play your rival, but then you're also going to potentially play, is it Nashville or St. Louis or whoever's, I guess, they decide in this region for district. And then depending on how you do will dictate if you qualify in some ways for the playoffs.
Yeah,
that's what's up in the air right now.
We've seen, I'm sure everybody has seen, if not, go look at kind of what people have drawn up, right, as far as what it could look like. It's a little bit funny because
it's funny.
Some of the teams are very spread out, right? So you have to be creative. But Ryan, it's interesting. The mention of doing this style reminds me a lot of like what the NBA does with the conferences and then the divisions, right?
Sure.
Right now, the divisions themselves in the NBA don't really mean anything, right?
Yeah.
It's just, hey, you'll play, like you said, you'll play these guys more than anybody else. So it's more of like a travel thing rather than having any significance. So that's where like it kind of doesn't make any sense, right? Like why do this if, what if I win my division, right?
Incentive of that, right?
Does that mean anything, right? Yeah. So that'll be interesting to see, but there's also potential playoff adjustments that could be coming.
Thank goodness. Because later on in the episode, we're going to talk to you about it.
We'll see
here. For everyone who's listening, you probably know we've had some injuries during this international break because we're playing for our national team in the middle of the playoffs. So
all right, hey, take it easy. Take it easy. All right, we're getting ahead of ourselves. All right, so we will have that. They'll come out with more info about what that looks like, and then. Once again, the MLS plans to kind of extend the transfer windows a bit beyond even what the European windows are. So it kind of helps. And I think they're receiving permission from FIFA and CONCACAF to also treat the 3 Canadian MLS teams as domestic roster competition purposes so that all 30 clubs can be aligned, which is, what you want, right? As far as making it fair, making it even for everybody to be able to get those transfers in at the same time.
Do you think so? I mean, obviously we're talking about the transfer part of things. I want to real quick go back to divisions, and why this is important is because there's a big debate, in the MLS. Is Supporter Shield the main trophy or is the MLS Cup? Everyone will say in this country, based on a playoff system, it's MLS Cup. But if we move to a single standing one where you might play every team, but it's not home and away, does that validate the Supporter Shield a little bit more, Sam?
Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't it?
So again, I think this further helps that case of things and further aligns us to kind of what we see from around the world. We'll still have an MLS Cup. It's just where do we see value in that in everyone's eyes? I don't know. It'll be interesting. I just wanted to bring that up to you real quick.
Yeah.
But what comes next, Sam? Why don't you roll out what Jeff Birding had to say from an FC Cincinnati point?
Well, we're an ambitious league, and if Major League Soccer is going to be one of the best leagues in the world, we have to get on the right calendar, the same FIFA calendar as all the best clubs in the world, to be able to more fully participate in the global transfer market, where we can be more strategic about selling players and bringing players in just the way the top clubs in the world do. We want to win, and so we want to get the best players at the beginning of our season, not in the middle of the season where, frankly, it's disruptive to the squad. And to be fair, we've been working on this for over a year, so it's not as if this was something that was new. We've had many pods where small groups of teams have gotten together and had the conversation with the league staff, answered the questions.
Yeah, so I mean, Jeff's kind of reiterating what we're saying here is just that it seems to be better aligned, for what we're looking at and to elevate, this league as more, I guess, relevant, in the world's eye as well. We know, where we're at, but we're biased. We follow this league every week. But Sam, you kind of made a good point here, and we're talking about how this might affect us, in Cincinnati and in this market, based on especially the weather. That's the big thing that we've heard, in a lot of the social media talk too. So with potentially having games into, December, like there's a chance that we have that now. We have a break until about, mid-February, which again is the way that we have it. So it's not drastically going to change things, but I think FC Cincinnati, like you wrote here, will kind of work on locking down some of those matches, maybe in a lesser degree, to again push for better market or better weather matches, whether that's in early August or, all of those times. Then you look at the heat being an issue. So no matter what, you're going to have the extremes, but I think ultimately it's going to work out. It just might take time for everyone to kind of fully adjust to that. The Bengals play in this weather, right? So it's not, any different from a fan standpoint. You're out and watching those matches, and it's longer. And FC, it's, 2.5 hours potentially. So there's some of that you could argue from that.
Yeah, I wonder if the MLS will come up with like a weather severity, tier list, right?
Sure.
As far as like the most northern, teams, maybe they get no December matches, right?
Yep.
And then a team like FC Cincinnati or Columbus or St. Louis, right? Where they're kind of like in the Midwest, kind of on that horizontal line. Maybe it's one game in December and then, one game in February. Like they try and mix it up like that. It'll definitely be obviously an adjustment period, right? It's going to be something to get used to. But Ryan, I don't know. Did you mention your take on this, or are you just going to hang me out to dry? Because I once again, to reiterate, like I don't mind it.
Yeah.
Like as far as bringing in talent, international window, it syncs up with Europe, and it puts less pressure on the MLS to have to compete with the NFL, with college football in the playoffs, right? You're more competing with the NBA, with a little bit of college basketball, but in May you're competing with the NBA and MLB, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
It's not as big as football.
The thing for me is, at first I'm very against it because of, the fact that the summer is a nice time for, especially our main target audience for a lot of games is families. And in the summer, having their kids go to matches during the week, on the weekends, not having to worry about as much, of that standpoint. But then on the flip side, you have vacations. So now this opens up time for being able to go on vacation and do those things in the summer. So I'm starting to come around more to it. And especially based on the fact that you were mentioning here, 92% of the schedule is going to stay the same. So we're not going to have a drastic flip of that. And it's going to better kind of elevate, this team on a world stage potentially as well. So from that standpoint, I see the benefit. I want to put my 2 cents as a part of this as well. I posted a graphic out on our socials. Go check it out. I think it was on Twitter or X. Sam, I had posed the question, would people be interested in TQL Stadium having a dome? And the overwhelming majority says no. And some of the answers were pretty funny to why. I definitely agree that the stadium needs more bathrooms before we even consider having a dome. Like that's, yeah, absolutely. Like we definitely need more. The concourse needs to be wider. I totally agree with that. But I was kind of posing the idea. I actually put this in on AI and it spit this beautiful image.
Yeah, I mean, it looks cool to me.
Like. It looks really sick.
Looks cool to me. I don't know if it's, practical, but like obviously.
And let me make the caveat that I think it like a retractable one way better.
Yeah.
That would be amazing, because the fact that like we have such nice weather for most of the year, and then, hey, we can close it when we want to. Maybe we'll be able to host, college basketball tournaments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That would be a plus with having that roof. So it might open up some more avenues that way. It was just interesting to see everyone's take on that. You guys can let us know in the comments what you think. And again, go check out our photo that we put up about it, TQL with the dome. But go ahead, Sam.
So real quick, I know we'll stay in Cincinnati with this one, but you talk about, games not being in the summer. If you go check out the full interview with Jeff Birding, he was on CBS Golazo, great interview. He actually touches on, FC Cincinnati isn't going to be playing in the summer, but this opens up a lot of opportunity for us to utilize TQL Stadium, not only for concerts, but also, Ryan, to bring back those friendlies, right? That you see FC Cincinnati play those European teams, right? Crystal Palace came to Nippert Stadium, and like the crowd was insane, right? So it opens up opportunities like that to see FC Cincinnati play against the best of the best that Europe has to offer. So that's kind of where I push back against your, kids are out of school and we need something to play. Also, does this put more pressure on the Reds to win?
Yeah, they're the sole act during the summer then, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's some crossover months, but the summer is now theirs again, if you want to say that. But yeah, no, that's a really good point. And maybe that opens avenues for looking at like hosting Gold Cup matches again and not having to worry about what the pitch is going to look like, after all of these games. So yeah, it opens up a lot of windows that way. So I think we hit that pretty good. The schedule change again. Sam's kind of transitioning me more into liking it, but again, would love to hear what everyone thinks. I think, there's a lot of back and forth. People are coming around to it a little bit more. Sam, there was new info that came out today that Don Garber, the commissioner of the MLS, is potentially going to be out in the future here. So his contract's set to expire after the 2027 season. I think some of the other owners have been kind of in the process and had a meeting recently about having a succession for a new person there. Garber's been around since the inception. So what is that going to look like? How does this kind of push things forward? It'll be interesting, but just a little caveat there and a little note that we wanted to put into this episode, because that might change somewhat of how this league looks in the future as well. There's other news though, that's out from the media standpoint, Sam.
Yeah. So the MLS and Apple TV, we're getting a new look, right? So now MLS and Apple are preparing to remove the full paywall for the 2027 season. So many of the MLS matches will become free to watch on Apple TV, with others remaining behind the season pass. So that's awesome to kind of grow the game a little bit more. Casual viewers can now sample games for free instead of committing to that, $99 season pass. So like I said, instantly widens the audience, makes it easier to follow not only your local team, but also, hey, I want to check out, some teams out west without a subscription. So once again, we're trying to grow the game, make the MLS a lot more viewable. I know I hear all the time over in the Premier League how much like Sky Sports has a hold on the Premier League and all those matches. And they talk about all the time, like how hard it is to like watch their games, right? So us being able to do this improves the league's visibility for big matches, rivalry games, and rising stars like our very own Evander Denke Brenner.
Yeah, no, good point. I mean, it only expands, the casual fans' interest. And, the big kind of holdup before was, well, I know they play on the road, but I have no way of watching them. So now hopefully there's not as much of that. And maybe it negates some future cards of the week that I have, because I've thrown out a lot about, those and accessibility before. But Sam, let's roll into it, kind of the nitty gritty of this episode. A lot of our guys were in this terrible international break in the middle of the playoffs. We had, our U.S. guys here we'll roll into first. Miles and Roman had gotten called up. They had a match on the 15th against Paraguay. They won 2-0. Miles started, played all 90 minutes, by all means, played pretty well. The goal that we gave up wasn't necessarily on him. He didn't track back the guy as well maybe as he could have, but it wasn't necessarily like all on him. But there was a big heated moment in this match. And Sam, if you want to roll this clip, we can talk over it here. This ball's played out wide towards the end of this match, like literally in extra time. And I believe Alex Freeman's battling with the ball here. You guys see you see Miles come in, defend his player, gets put in a chokehold. Sam, what a wild moment.
Yeah, I mean, you're watching this going like, guys, the game's almost over. Like, what are we doing? As far as from a Uruguayan standpoint, like
Paraguayan.
From a Paraguayan standpoint, the game is almost over. Why are we trying to pick a fight? Like, it was the U.S. men's national team's ball. Like, I just don't understand what he's trying to do, right? And then obviously it's right next to the Paraguayan bench, so immediately they're coming out, they're pushing, they're shoving. And obviously you see there, like, Alex Freeman's ready to like fight. He's like, dude, what are we doing right now?
Well, what is Miles doing too? Like, obviously I want him to defend like his player, but like, dude, you're in the middle of the season, like the biggest match of the year coming up on Sunday. Like, don't get injured. We're going to talk about this in a bit, but he gets put in a headlock and I'm like praying that he comes out of it, like not suspended, not like any ridiculous thing. But hey, he's our captain right now and he's defending even his players on the US team. So I kind of love to see it. There's a little bit of grit in those guys. But yeah, man, they rolled up their sleeves and had a big window. They won against Uruguay last night, 5-1. Roman doesn't get in that one. Miles doesn't play as well. But they just smacked the crap out of them. And it was pretty cool to see.
That one was enjoyable. Obviously they played a lot of their, second string guys, and this is the 15th ranked, team in the world, right?
Yeah.
In Uruguay. And like you said, the midfield, Man United and Tottenham, and the back line was what?
Barcelona and Napoli.
Yeah.
Players. Yeah.
I mean, and you're getting beat up by MLS guys, right? And 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds. So very impressive.
My card of the week, we didn't have an official one, would be the fact that the Uruguayan manager said and told one of his players that you should leave the MLS because it's a lazy league, quote unquote. And I think some of our players took that personally and went and just smacked them. Again, it's a friendly, but we're preparing for the World Cup. We don't have a buildup. We didn't have a qualifying process. So these guys are taking these moments, and man, did they ever. So shout out to, again, those guys for that. It was a nice window for the US. But Sam, Teenage Hadebe, what a nice moment for him, for Zimbabwe.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously the first match, they lost to Algeria 3-1. He started actually at left back in this one, Ryan. Got subbed out in the 71st minute. And once again, these were just friendlies. So we don't know why he's over there, but he's enjoying his time with his national team. And so they got the dub against Qatar in the second game that they played 2-1, and he started at center back this time. Once again, got subbed out in the second half. But Ryan, this second game was his 50th cap for his national team. So very cool to see for that. And then at the end of the match, you see a cool moment in Qatar. Some of the Zimbabwean fans stuck around and were dancing around. You see Teenage Hadebe there on the right. Honestly, I don't know what type of dance this is. I was trying to look it up, but it looks like the vibes are immaculate.
Yeah, tea time, right? Isn't that what all the players say? It's tea time. We'll call it the tea time dance, but that was pretty cool, man. Yeah, they're always like just having a great time. It feels
the African energy, right? Like I mean, was there anything like 2010 World Cup, right? The vibes of that one.
Vibes were, yeah,
pretty good, pretty
special. Yeah, no, I agree. And the only, I guess, second to that would be maybe down in Brazil, but I think the South African World Cup was pretty special. That's a good shout. Sam, I hate to roll into this next guy.
Let's get depressing.
Yeah, man. Ender Echenike, again, honor for him to be called up to Venezuela. They play against Australia. He has his first assist, for the national team in his first appearance for the national team on the senior team. They win 1-0, which was a huge win for Venezuela. Ton of praise from a lot of journalists. Everyone's finally seeing like Ender is breaking onto the scene. It's everything that we've seen, from an FC Cincinnati standpoint. Nice quote here from Ender, on the match. I make these movements constantly. There are players with quality who put the ball where you asked for it with the movement. They see you. I played that diagonal knowing that the player, had a lot of vision and ends up scoring it. So he was just touching on his assist there. Great high of highs moments. They play Canada yesterday, low of lows. Unfortunately, comes out in the 30th minute. Sam, I was watching this, and he makes a sprint down the sideline and has to kind of slow up and comes up kind of lame on this play. His reaching down to the outside portion of his knee. Being a medical guy, I'm looking and seeing what's going on with this player here, trying to analyze, looking at the pixels and everything. I hope it's nothing serious. He was able to walk off. He was limping. He's pointing at his joint line, so I hope it's not his meniscus is kind of what I'm thinking. But we got 4 days now, for him to get healthy, and we need Ender. I mean, look at the spark plug that he can bring, and beating the old team that is Miami. So it's tough, man. Again, why is it that these international windows fall when they do, and our players always it's so unlucky, man. I hate it.
Obviously you feel for Ender because the last international window, he also had an injury, right? So he missed out on
to stay away.
Yeah, he needs to stay away internationally, I guess. But once again, this is cool for him, right? This is first call-ups, like first minutes, first assist, right?
Right.
So yeah, obviously it's going to be tough. Him still being in Florida, getting scans, like Ryan said, possibly right knee. I haven't seen anything yet. I know Laurel was trying to report on it as fast as she could.
Sure. Well, the fact that he's not in Cincinnati and he's still getting testing down there, I mean, to me, he's getting an MRI. They're trying to figure out again.
It doesn't look good.
It's not good. It's ultimately like he's probably not going to play on Sunday, and it's terrible. Like, again, a key starter goes down in a game where they were playing Canada in a friendly.
Yeah.
Which is why I was so happy that Miles and Roman actually sat out that second game. It's just not worth it. I mean, these are high-stakes moments. We play the whole year, and then one injury like this could kind of flip what happens in a match. Hopefully it doesn't, but he could be that one player, and he's been playing so well. He dominated Arfston, in the Columbus matchup. So it's a real bummer. He's young. We got a lot of years out of Ender, hopefully, in the future, but hopefully he can get healthy. I'm praying for him. But Samuel Gidi, Sam, U21s for Slovakia, European U21 qualification. They ended up having a win in their first match. He played all 90 minutes, and then they just absolutely got run over by England.
Yeah, not so good in that second match, but nice to see that he played all 90 in both. I thought this was really cool. And Ryan, like you said, played England U21 squad in that second match yesterday, and he played the likes of Joe Bellingham, who we saw this summer, right? And Rico Lewis, who is a starter for Man City, right? So the quality on that England team is pretty solid. So him playing in the Euro qualifications, it's actually kind of cool, right? It's very cool. And they're second. They're second in their group right now, 2 points behind England. So we could see, Gidi in the future on the big stage.
Yeah. No, I think you said it's great that he played 290s. Like, from my standpoint, I'm like, Giddy's been starting. Like, we need a fresh Gidi.
So, I care about the player. But
all right, no,
here. You want me to talk? I'll put on my FC Cincinnati hat, right? That was terrible. Ryan, he should have came home as soon as
No, I mean, I'm sure it was a big moment for him to play Job and to play Rico Lewis again. These guys are going to be world superstars.
Especially Job. Job's a midfield guy, right? So you're going up against the best of the best right there.
Yep. Sam, to kind of round it out, so Dado, U21 U.S. Youth National Team, they played against Denmark. They had a 1-1 draw. No idea if Dado played. There was no real great reporting on that.
I couldn't find anything.
Yeah, it was hard to kind of find out. And then yesterday they played Serbia's U21 and lost 2-1. Dado actually started left wing in this one. He got a yellow, was subbed out in the 65th. We haven't seen him since like September, in any capacity. So does Dado even, get minutes for the end of this year? Probably not, but good for him for, again, making a camp. Like, we hadn't really seen him on the international stage. So he's in at least somebody's spotlight, and they see the quality out of him. And then Stefan Chirila, Romanian U19s. They are looking, I guess, to qualify for the Euros. and they had a win. He was a reserve player, but he didn't play. Did they have 3 matches in this period?
Yeah, they had 3 matches.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't play in the first 2, plays in the last one against Iceland, and plays, I think, for about a half, roughly. They're first in their group so far. But again, this is U19 ball, so this is pretty low down in the priority list of things. But again, maybe Stefan and his brother, one for the future. We'll see. But Sam, we hit a lot of things in this first part of the episode.
Yeah, let's take a deep breath here.
Yeah, for sure. Second part, we're gonna again roll into the Miami preview because we all want to talk about that. But before we do,
I got you. So trivia question of the week presented by Goals TV. Ryan, since the 2024 MLS playoffs, there have been 4 players that have started in every match in the MLS playoffs for FC Cincinnati. Who are they?
Man, great question.
Thank you.
Buka, Roman, Miles. I can't think of a fourth, man. I don't know the last one.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. We've got at least 3 answers there. We'll see who the fourth is on the other side.
Hey, everyone. The Flying Lion podcast is your home for FC Cincinnati coverage as a part of the Chatterbox Sports family. We're proud to be a part of a growing network of creators who are building real connections with fans across the region as the game continues to grow and in preparation for the 2026 FIFA World Cup hosted in America.
Yeah, and if you're a local business or a brand looking to reach an audience that's passionate, loyal, and plugged into the city's sports scene, this is the place.
Partnering with us is not just supporting a podcast. You're joining a community that celebrates FC Cincinnati and various other Cincinnati sports teams as well. So reach out through our email, which is Flying Lion Pod, FLYIN Lion Pod, @gmail.com, or direct message us on social media to learn more about sponsorship and partnering options. Thanks again. Thanks again for joining us tonight. Big match coming up on Sunday, Sam. We're still in it. We're still alive. It feels like it's been so long since we played. Every single time we move on, it's like, oh, another month before we play again.
I know, right?
But
no more breaks.
Let's talk about the MLS playoffs updates a little bit here. Let's show our brackets. We wanted to update kind of how our picks are doing here. Sam, is this mine here first?
Yeah, this is yours. Yeah.
Okay, so it appears that I've done pretty well. I think that Seattle is the only one that I might have missed.
Yeah. I mean,
okay. Sam, what do you got on yours?
Looks pretty solid. Mine's a little bit more messed up because I thought Philly, was gonna get out in the first round. Bad on me, and then I had Charlotte moving on. Bad on me as well. So we're not looking too good as far as the bracket, but my 2 teams that are in the final are still alive, so that's all that matters, right?
There you go. And the hometown team. But yeah, so the game's coming up. We have matches this weekend as we look at it here. Sam put the actual one out. Some honestly really good matchups around the MLS. Everyone wants to talk about LAFC and Vancouver. I get it. I know there's a lot of star power there, but it's Messi and Cincinnati. This is the game. Come on, there's no better game past that. TQL is going to be rocking. I'm sure Vancouver's arena, they're going to sell out, but I don't know. In my opinion, it's way different. But past that, San Diego, Minnesota, and then Philly, New York, kind of the other ones as well. Any other ones, Sam, that you have your eye on?
No, I mean, you just said all of them. So
well, I mean, I talked for everything about the LA Vancouver.
There's no more games. What are you talking about? But yes, I think obviously the hype around Vancouver LAFC is valid. But I think honestly that the San Diego Minnesota one should be really interesting because Minnesota played really well in their matchup against Seattle. So I think that could be a potential upset, right? I don't think NYC. We got news. NYCFC is missing one of their best players, right?
Sure. Towards ACL.
That's going to be tough against Philly. So you could probably chalk that one up as a Philly win. But Ryan, remind everybody, conference semifinals, we are done with the best of 3, right?
Correct.
We've got 90 minutes extra time, and then PKs to follow like normal.
Yeah, this is back to traditional, cup competition soccer. And then I believe yellow cards reset at this point as well. So that is relevant for Evander, especially. He was the one that had 2. So yeah, let's roll into it, man. This is the Eastern Conference Semifinal against Miami at home on Sunday, 5 p.m. Apple TV, probably FS1 too, but Apple TV. But yeah, let's hear what Roman and Miles had to say. They had an interview this week about this.
I feel like when it comes to Cincinnati, it's a bit different. I feel like the fans, are there for us. It's not really a Miami crowd. It's more of a Cincinnati crowd. And I feel like our fans have showed out all season, but it's going to be even more electric this Sunday coming up. So
I think we got a lot of spirit. We got a lot of fight and a lot of confidence going into this game. We're definitely on a mission this season. I can't stress that enough. I think we got great players and the unity of the group is really, really strong. So I think when we're at our best, we're not losing.
Hype me up, boys. Hype me up.
Hey, let's go.
I was ready to go. I love Roman just throwing shade because, that everywhere else they go to play, it's like, pink. Oh, well, yeah, and not here. Not here. No, it's going to be adamantly against him. So I love that, and they understand that. And I love the connection between the two of them because I'm sure they have to communicate every single match. So, yeah, man, I'm pumped about this one. Let's go a little bit brief history. In this past season, 2025 regular season, both games came over a span of 10 days, which is just insane. This was back in July. We had a 3-0 win at home, July 16th, and then a 0-0 draw down in Florida, July 26th. That one was without Messi because he did not show up to the All-Star game. So just kind of the caveat for this, very different teams lined up in these matches. So if we go and look at our lineup, the first one, we won 3-0. Yeah, we smacked them, but Miazga was playing. Anungo was playing. You had Yedlin still on the team at that point. And your starting forwards were Kai Kamara and Dado Valenzuela. So wildly different, starting 11 we're going to project here, for the boys. But I just wanted to put that in there. The last time they came to TQL, Messi walked off the field, didn't shake hands with anybody. I'm excited, man. This should be, by all means, the best match of the season.
Oh, absolutely. The next match, right, going forward is always the best match of the season, right, for FC Cincinnati.
For sure.
So I think going against Messi, it's going to be interesting. Like you said, completely different, almost like a completely different lineup for the most part for us, all the way through from the summer, which is crazy. How much the summer window, like we talked about last episode, has impacted not only our roster but also the starting lineup. So I don't know, Ryan. I guess we'll see. Roman on the MLS on air, right? Like we just showed. He also said that Messi has yet to score on him, and here's what he had to say here.
Has Messi scored against you yet in his career?
Not yet.
Oh,
why
no, don't say yet. Yeah,
what are you doing?
Don't say yet.
Why would you attach the yet there?
Because he's got 3 years left in his deal. You know what I'm saying?
He
doesn't got to score this Sunday.
Yeah, I'm not always never going to score him. He just goes and
no, but the question was
he's not scored yet, but he also has been, there's been some he's been injured sometimes, so he's been in the league a while. But I mean, a couple times I've played him, maybe not.
Sasha question set us up for not good juju, Sam. I don't love that.
Yeah, why don't say not yet.
Don't say that.
Yeah, immediately their reactions were like, why would you say not yet? Like you could say no, he hasn't. But you said no, not yet.
Maybe he's doing the reverse jinx. Like if I say not yet, maybe then it won't happen. No, again, this is it's to the extreme of if you look at Aftab Purval with the Bengals, chatting, with the Chiefs and their mayor, for Kansas City. It's just oh, well, has Messi scored on you? No, why? Why are we talking about this?
Don't poke the bear. Don't poke the bear.
Don't poke the bear. Exactly. Don't put it in his head. We don't want that. All-time series-wise, 5 wins each, 2 draws. This is as even as it gets, man. And I think this match, let's talk about kind of the X's and O's here. If we look at Miami is exposable. I will say exposable on their defense. I think compared to Columbus and how tactically sound they are, I think Miami has some holes. So I am looking for a match that's kind of more free flowing. It might be a high scoring game, to be honest, but there's going to be moments of transition from both sides where they look to attack and to really find moments to exploit the other team, Sam.
Yeah, obviously for me, from an FC Cincinnati perspective, it all starts in the midfield. I think obviously that's where Messi plays, and if you can control his area and at least try and control him to the best of your ability, and I think the big thing is going to be that chemistry. What two midfielders, right, have the most chemistry as far as communication, right? That's the biggest thing of understanding where is Messi, especially when we do turn the ball over, right? Because Miami tends to thrive on those chaotic moments and stretch our midfield out a little bit more. Yep. And now, the defense is having to come up further than they would like. So I think it'll be interesting as far as the depth perspective too, Ryan. We are a deeper team than Miami on paper. So I would like to think that when it comes down to late game subs or situations, these once again in back-to-back matches could be crucial for Pat Noonan and FC Cincinnati.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. We touched on it before, I think in the last episode, is don't get caught up in the antics. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a lot of flopping. There's going to be a lot of talking to the ref. Like, play our game. We're at home. Feed off the energy of the crowd. Just play the way we want to play. Don't get caught up in all of their crap. If Suarez is on the field, don't let him do anything crazy. I mean, you can't control the player, but don't react in a way where now you're putting your team in jeopardy. That's the big question, though. Is Luis Suarez going to start? They played and won 4-0 without him in this last match against Nashville. And there's kind of these rumors that Messi is telling Mascherano, don't play Suarez, don't start him. I think Suarez is probably going to start. I think
he's got like 17 goals this season, right? Like he's
looked like their best option, I guess, for them. But again, like, that's okay with me. I kind of prefer it that way. Fine.
Maybe don't put 11 out there. Maybe you just throw Messi out there and then we will just go 11v1.
Sam, but your point about the midfield, I want to touch on that. Like, is it Gidi? Is it Buka that go together? Do we want a more athletic midfielder that can really press at some of these older guys? I think that would be key, but you need discipline as well. And that's where Obi can provide that. The other question, and somebody kind of floated it out there, is like, do you man mark Messi the whole game and just make him mad, And I don't want to mad Messi because that's when he's the most dangerous. But I think you have to do what Buka does and just say, I don't care who you are. I'm going to go into each tackle knowing, and so that, like, I'm here, and I don't care who you are. So I think if all of our players play that way and kind of take it to them more than being reactive, we're going to see a proactive game from us. We took it to them in that first match. We won 3-0. We went and just scored and scored and scored again. Didn't even give them an opportunity. So if we can go and really just take it to them, the first 20 minutes are going to be so key at just saying, we're here, we're ready to go. And I really think that we, of course, are going to do better if we come out and score early, but if we just have that energy early, because at home, that can be killer. That can knock a team out of the playoffs pretty quick, and it's deafening in TQL when that happens. So I'm really looking forward to that. And like you said as well, depth wise, like who's our late game, sub to bring in and to make that key pass or that key, header. It could be a free kick that we need, because I think from what I've been seeing, Miami's not a great set piece team as well, Sam. So if we can get some key corners or balls into the box and let, Hagelin win it, or even Jabari late on, that was the key last game. So that could be a big, plus for us.
I would say Messi on any set piece is dangerous, but as far as,
sure.
The converting on the other end, right? Yes, maybe
don't foul him outside of our box.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Foul him outside of our box.
But yeah, as far as you want to talk about like lineup, right? So you mentioned Obi and Gidi first, right? So we'll go through that. Obi, maybe Ryan, you mentioned, this takes me back. So for those of you who follow Chatterbox, you probably heard Ryan's an ex-Mueller guy, right? So This reminds me, Ryan, of the Moeller versus LaSalle basketball game where they brought in the big boy for LaSalle to sit on Moeller. Moeller's like star player, if you remember that, right?
Yeah.
This kind of reminds me of a situation, right? Like, do you just put Gidi in, right? Because he's going to be more athletic, a little bit more pacey maybe than Obi is, depending on, because obviously he's probably healthier, right, than Obi, because Obi's still coming back. So maybe you play him the first 45, have him wear the crap out of Messi, and then you bring in the closer. You bring in Obi to kind of finish the deal in that second 45.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And Gidi's been that guy in the playoffs. Obviously, you look at each situation differently. That's a really good point. The other thing I'd kind of look at is look how the way Diego Rossi played against us, Sam. He didn't really have a defined position for the crew. He kind of floated around all of the positions. What does Messi do? He does a lot of the same. There's moments where he's just strolling around, and then there's a transition, and he turns it on, and he goes. So I think having Rossi, obviously this is a weird comparison, but having the way that Rossi played prior and kind of the drifting that he does around the center backs and right behind our defensive mids kind of prepares us for the way that Messi tries to play, where, we need to communicate. If the ball gets turned over, it's like, find him right away and just negate any opportunity of that. Let somebody else beat you. Don't let Messi beat you. So I think communication is key in this match, and it really just comes down to find him and make sure he doesn't have. Look at the game against Nashville, Sam. He finds space in a blink of an eye and takes 3 guys on and scores before they even knew what happened. So you have to be able to shut that down further away from goal before you can put a shot on it.
So Ryan, to go again, right? Do you think, I mean, the big conversation we just had, right, was about Ender.
Yeah.
Don't think he's going to be in the 18. So
fortunately not.
Once again, you're looking at a guy in Alvis Powell, right? Did Alvis probably start at right back?
Okay. So hear me out. I think Engel is going to be available. So he's my left side. Hadebe, Miles, Hagelin on the right center back. And then I think you could play around with this. If you really feel like Orishano's fitness is there, do you throw him on the right? I don't know. The only question would be Alba likes to play up pretty high. And so if we put somebody on the right, they need to be able to get back and negate what Jordi Alba is going to do.
And that's where Alvis comes in handy. Because
is that Alvis or is it Kubo? I could see any of the 3, honestly. They started him in left wing back against the crew.
If you could see any of the 3, which one are you most confident in? Right, because we saw Orishano get beat, and it led to a goal right away. So
right,
we can't have that early.
If I want to have his impact there to kind of replicate what Ender can do on the offensive side.
The speed.
And the pace I think we need that because if it's Engel on the left wing back, who else do we have on the wings that can provide service? We're kind of losing that.
Well, to be fair, Orishano's not giving you service from the right side.
Yeah. I don't love any of the choices, honestly, but at least some of the guys have had experience, in that spot. And, if it is Kubo, he's on his favorite foot. If it's Alvis, he's on his favorite foot. If it's Orishano, he likes to cut in, and we've seen what he can do. And he's going to play up because he's playing his Argentinian boy. So his idol, does that elevate his game even more? That's kind of my take on that. What are you saying Alvis is going to be your out and out?
I think Pat plays it safe here and goes Alvis. As once again, just goes back to quality and the amount of just experience he has. Maybe you bring in Orishano as a sub to be able to bring in that pace, right? That Ender would have, because we've seen that throughout the year too, of like Pat bringing in Ender to use some space to cross in the middle. But Ryan, you touched on the 3 center backs there. I mean, obviously, Hadebe has been starting for a while now. Engel is, hopefully took this week and is back healthy. So you mentioned it would be Engel on your left, Hadebe, Miles, or Hagelin, then Miles, or do you want Miles in the middle?
I think probably Miles in the middle. Yeah, I think that's where he's been more.
And then, so I haven't seen anything, but I think people want to know a little update on Miazga, right?
Yeah, he's off to the side. He's training on the side. I don't think he's fully in the group. I don't think they're going to press him into the 18. Yeah, unfortunately, like I wish he was available, and he just hasn't played in the meaningful minutes. And I don't think you just stick him in the biggest game of the year like that if he hasn't had a sustained run out. Like we haven't seen even last week that he was in the full training yet. So to me, he's probably not ready. But otherwise, Sam, like we talked about the midfield, the front three is unchanged. So we know kind of have that solidified.
Yeah.
Question again is it Obi? Is it Gidi? And then who's your right wing back? I really think that's the question. But whoever it is, like they have to step up in a big way. Like again, next man up. Go in and say, you got to take that position and make it yours for this match, and play inspired. So a key player for you would be who, Sam?
I think in this game specifically, I'm looking at Buka. Buka's my key player. I honestly I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Buka get a goal in this one, because he's obviously he's a workhorse for us, and he has been a very consistent midfield piece, right? And when you see our midfield being stretched, it's usually not him, right? He's usually the one having to make up for the other midfielders. So look for Buka to kind of be the key in this game. If he's able to help control Messi a little bit and also help in the progression of the attack, right? So taking, some turnovers that we may be able to create off of Messi or some other players, and hopefully Buka's able to find Evander who finds Brenner, right? Like is able to find those pockets of space.
Yeah. No, that's a great shout. Honestly, I think that's probably your key there. The midfield is the engine. We honestly, we need Buka to play lights out in this match just for, every reason we've talked about. And the fact that they like to play in transition, our defense is going to need some help. And I really think that could be the key. And then, like we talked about, who's going to play on that width, who's going to provide service, and who's going to be able to break the lines, because we're going to have moments to stretch Miami. I think that's the key. We saw with the Crew, we had like in some, I would say the first game, there were some decent chances. Would you agree? Second game obviously was terrible. Third game, we picked it up, but we got to be able to take advantage of moments. This is a one and done situation. So who's going to be that guy? We need Denke to put one away, a no-doubter, or Brenner, who's never played against Messi, to come in and put a stamp like he did in game 3. We need, honestly, we haven't even said his name, Sam, Evander. We need Evander to be Evander. Like,
would that be your key guy?
There it is. You just helped me to get to it. Evander has to play. I saw his quote, like, we got to take it to arguably the best player of all time. He literally had said that in an interview last week. And they, shout out, I think it was Bradley Orate Phillips, asked him directly, we all can see you haven't had a great playoffs. Like, how do you turn this around? He asked him straight up, and Evander's like, no, that's fair. He's like, but if you look, he said, I've been making movements and other things around the ball that have led to us scoring. So maybe he's occupying more players that frees up somebody else. I think that Miami's going to go into him hard. I honestly feel like, I hate to say it, but like Rodrigo De Paul is going to play him hard and really frustrate the crap out of him, and how he responds. And if he can elevate his game, he had a brace in the first one and led that team, man. Like,
you could see Miami probably definitely saw what Columbus started to do to Evander, right? They began to frustrate him, right? And I'm sure every other team that we face in the MLS playoffs is going to look for the same thing, right? If we move on, it's going to be, how can we get Evander's blood to boil, right? How can we kind of nudge him a little bit?
You know what's crazy though? They did that to him, like Columbus did, and who dropped back more to break the lines? Brenner,
yeah.
So we kind of have like a false 9, 10-ish player that, like, all right, sick, go and double team Evander. We'll have Brenner drop in, turn on you, dribble, and find somebody else. Like, if Evander's that decoy, like, he's basically saying, I don't mind being that guy. I don't need the accolades. Like, I'd love the accolades, but like, my team's moving on and they didn't.
Let's get a cup.
That's sick. That's a sick quote from your number 10, but I need a big moment from Evander, Sam. I need him, locked in the whole match, and I need him to do something special. You're going to see it. Look at the way he played against Monterrey. Look at the way he played against, Miami in the first match. Like, this guy steps up in big moments, and we need that.
Yeah. So Ryan, going forward, what's the prediction from you?
I didn't write it in because I wanted to surprise you with this one. Everyone can probably guess it's going to be a 1-goal game because, if you had to be a betting man, every game this year pretty much has been that way. Hold the suspense. 1-0 FC Cincinnati. It's going to be a 0-0 match for a while. No, I'm just kidding. I had mentioned earlier on, Sam, multiple goals. So I think 3-2 actually is what the scoreline is going to be. It's going to be a tight game back and forth. And then I really think we find the winner late on, hopefully attacking towards the Bailey. What about you?
I think 2-1, little less goals from my side, but I don't know. I feel once again like game 2 for us in the best of 3 didn't go the best, and we felt very confident going into that one. But I see the talent we have. I do. I see the talent. I see the depth. I see the writing on the wall. Messi really hasn't been good against us, right? And I don't, want to be the jinx because Roman already has. All right, so it's not on me. But I do think FC Cincinnati has kind of positioned themselves better to advance in this one.
If we can just negate him out of the game, like it's hard to like get him out of the game, but like if we can just have where he's just walking around and he's a non-factor, that's a win. Mm-hmm. That's what we did in the first one, and he just didn't get a chance to even affect the game.
No, yeah.
So I think that's the best case scenario for us, because when he like puts his mind to it, like there's not a lot that stops him, clearly. But again, if we can dictate the way the game is played, just like the U.S. did against Uruguay last night, just negate the fact that, this guy plays for Barcelona, this guy plays for Napoli, same sort of idea. I don't care that Busquets and Alba and this and that, like you go and play the way you want and you dictate it at home, you don't give them a chance. So we didn't really touch on it. Do you think, we talked about the ticket sales and the pricing and everything. It's going to be a very pro FC Cincinnati crowd. Do you expect a decent amount of Miami people there as well, or what do you think?
I would assume so. I mean, it's MLS playoffs, right? So you're going to even get the non-MLS fans that just know Messi out of the woodwork. So yeah, I expect to see pink jerseys, right? That's you're not going to not see some, right? So yeah. I'm just hoping that there's at least like 80%, 90% blue and orange.
No, rock
can't
your
wait.
Blue.
Are we
rock your blue? It's a blue out.
Yeah, blue out. Well, not a lot of people have just blue, right? So maybe some orange in there, but yeah, obviously, like Ryan said, go wear blue though. It is a blue out, but Ryan, we're getting a tifo, right?
Yeah,
Possibly?
tifo for this match. I'm pumped about it. Again, the Forge is cooking up something good. It's playoff time. I mean, it's do or die. This is it. Like other teams,
like I said at the beginning of our preview, no more breaks.
Yeah,
there are no more breaks. We are straight MLS playoffs from here on out. Every single weekend, you are tuning in for FC Cincinnati's ride in the MLS playoffs.
Let's do it, man. I'm excited. It's at home. This is a prime opportunity. Who cares what, comes next and what other teams are doing? Like, you focus on what you can control and you go take care of business and move on, man. I'm pumped. I'm ready for it. Let's hit us with a trivia question and answer before we go.
Yep. So once again, Trivia of the Week presented by Goals TV was since the 2024 MLS playoffs, there have been 4 players that have started in every match in the MLS playoffs for FC Cincinnati. Who are they? Ryan said Roman, Buka,
Miles.
Who was the Miles, and then couldn't name a fourth. So Ryan, that fourth would be Teenage Hadebe.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
So our 4, once again, Celentano, Hadebe, Robinson, Buka. And what's crazy, Ryan, is we could have had 5 players that have started in every match in the MLS playoffs since 2024. But Kubo had a red card in game 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because Kubo started game 1 against Columbus, right? And then he started all 3 games against NYCFC last year as striker.
And you might see him in this game as well.
I don't know.
Might be what it's kind of aligning to right now. So we shall see. But thanks again for joining us tonight. Go check out all of our reels, from this episode. Check out our merch that we just rolled out. Thanks again to Chatterbox Sports, for this opportunity. We had at the beginning of the episode. Go back if you missed that. But yeah, again, hopefully we're here next week talking about a win and that we're moving on. But thanks again for joining us tonight.